Hey, Kathleen.
Hey.
Nice to see you again here for the Healthie Podcast. And we'll be talking about something that is important, and it was your idea.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to talk about the subject. It's so fun. And I think it's just, again, always one of those things that people just don't realize how it affects your health and your weight. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Absolutely, because we associate calories with food. We say food, but we don't necessarily say drinks and thinking about the drinks, and they go down fast in seconds.
Yes.
So that's today's topic. It's on beverages. And as you put it, beverage sabotage.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah. I mean, because they really can be the difference between losing weight, maintaining your weight, or even gaining weight.
And in your experience, so what do you see with the people you work with when it comes to beverages?
So typically what I'm looking at is, well, I should say what I see is people who tend to drink beverages that have calories, or sometimes what we call sugar sweetened beverages. They have a harder time losing weight. And it's not saying that those beverages are the only reason, but it does play a big part in it, because we know that, if we're trying to lose weight, we do need to be mindful of the calories. And those drinks, like you said, they go down quick. They're sneaky calories. And in the course of a day, you can end up getting like 400, 500, 600 calories extra. And that can really hinder your weight loss and sometimes even cause weight gain.
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't think about how much energy, how many calories are packed in those drinks. And the problem is you're getting 600, 700 plus, I mean, even maybe thousands of calories without added nutritional benefit as well.
No.
You're just getting that sugar.
And that's it. I mean, arguably some of those drinks taste good. We get it. But in the long run, I mean, but in reality, they don't do much to keep you full. They don't really contribute much to quenching your thirst. And,
if anything, they can make you thirstier because of that sugar, that osmotic effect, making you thirstier.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then what happens? You turn around and get another beverage. So definitely there's not much nutritional value there, just like you mentioned. So,
nutritional value. I mean, that's what I like to kind of like a simple tool to help you, be more mindful of what you're eating is like when you sit down to eat something or wherever you are eating or drinking, is like, what am I getting out of this meal? What am I getting out of this food? And now drink, because it's going to cost me something, and is it worth that cost? And if you're going to be taking in hundreds of calories of this substance of a drink, it should be giving you additional nutrients besides just sugar.
Absolutely.
If maybe you're an athlete or doing something like that, then that's going to be important for you. But most people are not, doing a triathlon or a professional athlete where they need that amount of energy that quick. So it's something really to take into account. And I get why people drink these drinks. I get why people love beverages, because I mean, it's an amazing invention. I mean, I don't drink many of them now. But having like something that's sweet and cold and something to sip on, like it makes you happy. It makes you feel good.
And it tastes good. And, sometimes we always hear things like, oh, I could never eat something without having a soda. Or I hear that all the time. Or where I live, sweet tea is very popular. So people drink sweet tea all the time. And people say it all the time. Like, I can't imagine having a certain meal without this beverage. And again, just like you said, like, what is that costing you?
Yeah, that sounds, I mean, I think it comes to a point where it's like, we can't have it. Like, we have to have it. And that's like a pretty solid habit that we've created. And it takes some time to, break that habit, but it's not, we have to change that, because that's not a good thing when we say we have to have this drink when we eat. And it can be it is dangerous over the long run, because it adds up. and it
Mm-hmm.
certainly does damage to our health, even though it makes us feel very happy in that moment. And I get that.
Mm-hmm.
There is a big cost down the line, and one particular that I think is talked about somewhat, but type 2 diabetes. I mean, it's one of
Yes.
the worst diseases that is just becoming a larger and larger problem, and it has to
Yeah.
do with just excess sugar, excess intake, excess food, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And our bodies can't handle and adapt to all of this extra sugar and that's coming in, and it just causes a lot of problems. And drinks,
Yeah.
have a big part to play in that.
Yeah. And I mean, we've seen it that over the years that sodas and these sugar sweetened beverages are increasing. I mean, it's so easy to go to a restaurant, drink a soda, get a free refill, or you go to a gas station and you get the huge, 72-ounce soda to take with you on your car ride.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very accessible. And I think the biggest thing is that we just don't realize how quick it goes down. And, every sip has those added calories, added sugar, and what that does to your body in the long run. So you're 100% right that type 2 diabetes is one of those long-term possibilities of excess sugar intake or excess intake in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And not just, I mean, soda is a huge one, and like just sweet teas, all of these drinks, energy drinks,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
big one, coffee. When most people, I think when they say I'm going to have a coffee, they are talking about something where it's not just coffee, but there is a lot of added sugar in there,
Yes.
a lot of sweetener, a lot of,
Yep.
whatever all these fancy coffee drinks are. Those are like meals in themselves. And again, you're not getting much out of it than just sugar. And people have that before they even start eating. And you've already consumed, what should have been one or maybe even two meals. And the only thing you've gotten out of that coffee is just sugar and no other nutrition.
Exactly. Maybe a little caffeine, but that's it. 100% right on that. And, and there's certain way, of course, you can, minimize the calorie intake. I am somebody who has to have cream or some form of creamer in my coffee. But, I don't necessarily need to go to one of the stores where they put all the sugar and the syrup and the heavy cream and the whipped cream and the drizzle on top, because that is a huge calorie punch. So, doing it at home can even save you a bunch of calories, or, buying the sugar-free version or the fat-free version, or using a smaller amount of cream and sugar. Because again, I'm one of those people that I'm just not going to drink black coffee. So, there's definitely ways to minimize those calories coming in, especially from your coffee or any drink, really.
Yeah, there are ways you can enjoy these drinks without going overboard and paying that big cost to your health. And that's a really good tip, and something we should probably talk about more is, all right, people who are used to drinking these drinks and drinking these ways and doing these habits. Now, how do we start to break those habits? How do we start to work down from that without making people feel like they just can't live anymore because they have to have that?
Yeah. So it can be a challenge. And I think if, going from 10 to none, I think that's going to be really difficult. So just slowly, let's say I did drink 10 cans of soda a day. Maybe if I just say, you know what, I'm only going to have 9 today, and just slowly cut back, even that one can is still going to have an impact. That is certainly an option. There's always the diet option of most beverages. I know that sometimes the diet doesn't always taste the same, but a lot of big soda companies now are coming out with the zero version, which has no calories, has no sugar, but it doesn't have that taste that the diet ones have. So people are finding that is a great substitute for regular sodas. Another thing we can do is maybe adding like some flavors to your water, because your body loves water. It needs water, and it's going to need it above all of those beverages anyway. So maybe adding something to make the water taste different. They have those little sugar-free packets that you can pour into a bottle, shake it up, drink it. You could add fruit slices. You could add those little squeezy things. There's so many things that you can add to the water that make it taste different, but you're getting just water.
Yeah, and all good tips when you're starting to work down from where you're at. But some people are going to say, well, what about those fake sugars? What about those artificial sweeteners? Are they good for my health too? I think like there's always a cost to everything,
Mm-hmm.
and there have been some associations, again, somewhat controversial, that these additives and sugar substitutes have their own health um, issues. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there probably is, because I think nothing comes for free. So I think that it probably has some effect on your health, which is why it's important to, again, not rely on these forever or all the time, but just to
Yeah.
use these as tools on cutting back or and
Yes.
moderation. But to also understand that this is also not, the cure, the solution.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think everything in moderation, you just mentioned that. So even with the artificial sweeteners and sugars and things like that, is, of course, if I opened the 10-pound bag and consumed it all in a 24-hour period, it would likely have some adverse effects. So, everything in moderation. So, if I was drinking 2 tablespoons of sugar, sorry, if I was putting 2 tablespoons of sugar in my coffee in the morning, well, I decided to use an alternative sweetener instead. That might be, that's okay because it's a small amount. And like you said, well, maybe I can start slowly backing off of that sweetener. Since I've cut out the sugar, well, maybe I can try 1 tablespoon and sit with that for a little bit and see how it feels.
Yeah, a good approach. And even, or just cutting back in the amount of sugar that you're putting in, just getting used to lower and lower amounts. And you'll
Yeah.
realize, I think, like you, who puts in some creamer, that you don't have to have, sugar with your coffee,
Yeah.
or coffee with your sugar.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's like you can get to a point where your body starts to adapt, your taste starts to change, you start to
Exactly.
appreciate lower amounts. Because I think what happens is, over time we get so used to and so sensitized to the
Yep.
amount of sugar in foods, that we can't tolerate something with less, because our bodies are used to that high amount. So you
Yep.
have to kind of learn how to come down slowly and taper off that in a way so your body can adjust and you can then tolerate um, that beverage.
Yes, exactly. And your body does the same thing with salt as well. And you might find that when you do drink something that has a regular amount of sugar in it, it just might be disgustingly sweet. And you almost can't drink it because it's too sweet. So you definitely do adjust. It does take a little time. So, even working backwards, like I was saying, if you had a big glass of sweet tea, well, maybe do like 3/4 sweet tea and then a fourth of it unsweet. And then slowly start adding more unsweet tea and less sweet tea. And then eventually you just have adjusted to having unsweet tea or a very low, lightly sweetened sweet tea.
Yep. No, that's the way you got to do it. And then you got to do it by tapering off like that in a sustainable manner. And then also having the education, the knowledge, realizing that, okay, what am I putting into my body? I understand this is probably too much sugar than I need. So then you're going to
Yeah.
know that you're doing this with a purpose, that you shouldn't be doing this. So then you're going to
Yeah.
have the motivation to change.
Exactly. I like that. Doing it with a purpose. Like this means something. I'm not doing it just for the heck of doing it. Like this is for my health. This is for me. This is for the long term and it's going to have a better result. Like I'm going to be healthier because of this.
Yep. And I think that's what everyone should keep in mind with every time they every time you eat. The biggest thing to keep mindful about is, how is this going to affect my health? And we don't
Yeah.
see the effects today. We don't see the effects tomorrow. We may not see them for years, but over time it takes an effect on your body. This is something I see in the doctor's office every day. I see the progression of
I'm
disease. I see
sure.
people getting healthier, and it doesn't happen in a day. Every 3 months, people are coming in and maybe their A1C, their sugar, their blood glucose is getting worse. And it's a slow, dangerous pattern that, if you don't do something to stop it, then leads
Yep.
to the late stage disease, where it's difficult to reverse and it's already done a toll on your body. and it's extremely dangerous and something that we don't really understand or see until we get older. And it doesn't have to be that way. So the changes you make now, realizing and being mindful that everything you put into your body has a cost. So are you going to feed your body what it needs to become healthier, or are you going to do something that's just going to make you sicker and live a lower quality life?
Exactly. Yeah. And you mentioned it early on that diabetes it's a very difficult disease. It doesn't have to be, and you don't have to get it, type 2 specifically, but the outcomes of uncontrolled blood sugar can be life altering. It's just insane. And it's maybe something as simple as making some changes to your diet, to your lifestyle that can prevent or delay some of these things, so it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to. So it's just, I've seen it too in practice that it's just been very poor outcomes when and that's over time. That's some of the worst case scenarios where it's poorly controlled, and people drinking lots and lots of sugar sweetened beverages and just have poor diet, poor lifestyle choices, and like you said, leads to poor quality life.
Yeah, it has an effect on every single cell organ in your body.
Yeah.
Essentially, an easy way to think about it is like sugar is sticky. And when you have excess sugar and your body can't put it into its storage form and pack it away, it's just traveling in your bloodstream, sticking to everything and messing everything up. Big issues, nerves, your eyes can cause I think it's a leading cause of blindness in America. Nerve damage, brain damage, strokes, heart attacks, everything. It's essentially clogging everything up. And that's really the disease progression. And it's nice now because you go to a doctor's office and you can get tested and they can tell you have pre-diabetes. Again, it's just it's right. When we name these diseases, we're sort of just categorizing them when they get to a certain point. But it's all a spectrum. So pre-diabetes is basically saying that you're on your way to getting there. So it's good when you're notified about that, because now you're at an earlier stage in your life where you can do something about it, and you should do something about it. 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that is the time to do something. Is, if you had prediabetes, that's the time to do it. Well, I would argue actually it's before that. Let's not even cross that threshold into prediabetes. Let's take care of it now. Let's take care of ourselves, and don't even get close to that.
Yeah, no, I love that. I'm 100% with you. I think for a lot of people, when they start to think about it and when it starts to sort of set in, is they're lucky enough to be told maybe prediabetes. They're not thinking, when I was younger, you're never thinking you're going to be sick. You don't think about disease and health until someone tells you something. So I'm definitely with you. If focus on eating healthy, you won't ever even have to be diagnosed with prediabetes. But if you get that diagnosis, that should be a wake up call. And even diabetes, it can be reversed. I've seen people with A1Cs, which is like the major marker for how the progression of your diabetes is. A1C is like 16, which is so high,
very high,
have been reversed with a lifestyle and nutrition. So it's possible. You can do this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's possible. And like I said, it doesn't have to be that way. It's not one of those things that's written in stone. Like if you have it, you have it. You can reverse it.
Yeah. Yeah. Your body's incredible. Your body can adapt and change. You have to understand that and believe that, and do the right thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This is a good talk. I got caught up in the disease, but it's so, it's all, everything is related. And that's why when I'm thinking about beverages, because mostly you're taking just sugar and there's no other nutrition. This is a big cause of disease, weight gain, not getting you to where you want to be. And it's I would say one of the easiest things to start addressing.
I agree. Certainly, like I said, if I was drinking 10 sodas a day, that would be kind of a challenge to start. But, if I cut it down to 9.5, and just slowly started working it down, you can do it. You can. And you just have to have that mindset that I can do this, and I'm doing this for my health and for my future. So why not?
Yes, you can. You absolutely can. No excuses. You've got this. You've got a control of your health. You control what goes into your body, what you eat, what you drink. Realize every choice you make is going to lead you to where you want to be. And do you want to end up that way? So think about that.
Yeah.
And maybe that drink makes you happy now, but it will cost you happiness in the long run. You will be happier if you do the harder thing up front.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, it is hard, but a lot of people I talk to, they find that they don't even miss sodas. They don't even care about it. Um, so just, you got to start it. Just try.
Yeah, that's great too. After you start doing this for a while, you realize you don't miss it. And then you maybe even taste it and you realize, oh, this is so sugar. This is way too sweet.
Yeah.
Your
And
body's like,
sometimes you just wonder, like, how did I even drink this? It was nuts. It's so sweet. It doesn't even taste good.
yep. Yeah, absolutely. Any other tips, or did you cover them all, or?
Honestly, would I would just start by being aware. Really think about your day. Do you get up? Do you drink coffee? Do you have orange juice later? Do you have a soda with lunch? Really think about what you're drinking, and kind of evaluate how can I put water in? How can I take this out? How can I change this? Because it's those little changes that you make on a daily basis that you're going to see those long-term results. So where can I add more water? And, I don't want to say like never ever have a beverage, like don't go out, don't have, an adult beverage but really consider what you're drinking. Again, some drinks, if you go to a restaurant or a bar, those super sugary drinks that have mixers, they're going to have a ton of calories. So maybe opting for something a little bit lighter, like soda water, a liquor, and a splash of juice. Or like a light beer. There's plenty of options that have great taste but lower calorie. Trying some of those. I would also recommend looking at your container for drinking water. And it sounds so weird, but think about how can I get the most water in me? And a lot of times it's the container. So carrying around a big 64-ounce bottle for water may not be feasible for everyone, but having a slender bottle with a straw might help you drink more water. So whatever it is that helps you get the most water in, go for that, get it, and fill it up and keep it with you so that way you drink your water. But really, really kind of look at those things. Just take a minute and step back and say, like, what can I do to get more water in and have less of these sugar sweetened beverages?
Yeah, all excellent advice, and I like that saying always have a water bottle on you. That way you have water set. If you're thirsty, you go right to that and you quench your thirst so you don't end up doing something that's not so healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. Like drinking a soda and then, still being thirsty and drinking another soda.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great advice. Obviously, this is what you do on a day-to-day basis, and these are the ways that you have to go about and fix it. So great talk. Very important as always. Just good tips for most of us who struggle with this. Again, it's not our fault if we just don't know, because we're used to doing these things in life, and these habits have been built up over a long period of time. And most of us were never told about the health consequence that comes with eating and drinking these ways. So once we do understand that these do have effects on our health, that's when we realize it's time to change, and we can do things about it. But we often need help. It's why I created Healthie Coach. It's why you work as a Healthie Coach. It's to help people break these habits, because you do need help. Like I said, these are habits that have been built into us over all our entire lifetime. So we can't just break these habits tomorrow and be healthy. We have to go about it the right way. We have to learn tips from you and the expert coaches to know how to do it the right way without going back to our old ways, and just focus on a sustainable approach. That's what you do as a Healthie Coach, and that's what we do. And we help people get healthy. And we don't want to stay with you forever. We're here to empower you, educate you, and help you do the right thing so that you don't get type 2 diabetes, so that you don't get high blood pressure, so you don't have a stroke and a heart attack and all these terrible things. We're here to help you get healthy, to empower you, and coach you through it until you become an independently healthy person with a fabulous and long, healthy, happy life.
Absolutely. And that is the goal for every client, for every person, is live life, be happy, and be healthy.
And we'll end on that. I'll see you soon for another great and educational podcast. And everyone listening, stay healthy, be happy. And if you need some help, get a healthy coach. Talk to you later, Kathleen.
Bye.